Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your girl Belinda here, and this is our first episode for 2021. As you all know, or if you're new to this show, this all about interviewing everyday people who's gone through amazing health transformations, but just by doing simple lifestyle changes, whether it's diet, eating, or exercising, or what have you. And so they're here where they are right now. So this is all. This is all what this platform is about. And so today, for our first guest, we have Kerby. Kerby is a dean at one of the local charter schools in this area. And so he's here to talk to us about his journey. So thank you and welcome, Kerby, to this show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Awesome. So let's get right into it. Because I know we were kind of talking beforehand and I was like, oh my goodness, I probably should start hitting record before I lose all the initial gems. So tell us a little bit about just a little bit about yourself, and then after that we'll get into the health portion.
A little bit about myself. Well, I'm a regular guy. Like we said before, I'm a dean of students at a local charter school. I'm a dad. I have an 8-year-old son, my everything, purpose of my life. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Just a regular guy trying to make it through life like everyone else.
There you go. Okay, that's good. We'll take that. Thank you very much for sharing. All right, so tell us, when did this health journey start for you?
So the health journey was truthfully an overall journey. So for me, what happened was in 2017, I was working so I've been in sales my whole entire life. For over 15 years. I was working for Monster.com at that time in 2017. In the beginning of 2017, the job that I loved and everything for 4 years, I was an all-star there. We got bought up by another company, and literally 75% of the company got laid off. And I was just part of that big sweep. So I got laid off of sales. And at that time, I was really already starting to question sales. Sales is a great position, a great career, but it's stressful and it's just tiring and it's nonstop. So at that point with that layoff, I was questioning sales, but I was too afraid to leave. And I got another job with another company, Unitrends, which is a software sales company. And once again, went through the whole sales cycle and was part of another acquisition. And I think it was middle of 2018, I got let go of that job. So it was two major back-to-back layoffs at that time. So after the second layoff, I remember I was actually sitting there I remember I got laid off. First thing that hit me is like, what the heck am I going to do? And then the second thing that hit me is like, you know what, maybe this is time to make a jump into what I want to do. So after I got laid off from that job, the second job, I was sitting there kind of figuring out that same day I got laid off. I was figuring out what I was going to do. And I went over to my sister's house and I just talked to her. I was like, yo, I just got laid off. I have no clue what I should do. And she's like, why don't you travel? I was like, I just got laid off. I can't travel. Like, no, get out of here, go travel. She's thinking something like Florida or like California. I started researching and I found a trip to Thailand, and I literally jumped off the day I got let go. The next day I bought a ticket, one-way ticket to Thailand for 3 weeks, and had to figure out what I was going to do for 3. Yeah, 3. I bought my ticket. I found a one-way ticket to Thailand. That next day I got laid off, and had to figure out how to get to Thailand in like about a month. So I went through that whole process, which was a whole process. There was a whole bunch of fear and things that came along with that whole thing. But I did my trip to Thailand. It was the most wonderful. It was a solo trip too. I just went by myself. I literally planned my first 3 days, and then I winged it for 3 weeks. I met people. I ended up places I never thought I was going to end up, but it was the most beautiful, most amazing, most eye-opening trip. So that was kind of the beginning of my transformation. So I got laid off, went off on fear, just did this beautiful Thailand trip, came back ready to conquer the world, and I sat. And I couldn't find a job, and money was running out, was going through my savings, and just it was getting tough. And so that Thailand trip was probably like the spring, probably beginning of summer. Now we're at November, December, the holidays, and it is tough. Like I am just living a tough life. Like I thought it was gonna be all cookies and roses. I'm gonna leave sales and you know what I mean, find something I love to do and live with a passion, and that passion didn't get me nowhere. I was just on the couch looking for jobs, applying for jobs, collecting unemployment. Unemployment ran out. Like it got really stressful. So I got to a point at the end. It was the end. I remember it was the end of 2018 into 2019. I was done. I was just personally depressed. I felt like a failure. I lost. I got laid off from both the jobs. I thought I was going to do something great and didn't. I started a t-shirt company, but they flopped, or I didn't push as much. So I was just really, really down. And I remember I was just depressed and down. I was and speaking about my weight and my weightless journey. So I was always a big guy. My whole entire life, I was always a big guy, never fat. Everybody called me a football player. I was just a 280 pound, 290 pound guy. Used to always work out, played football, used to always work out. So I knew how to work out, but once again, I'm not playing sports. I'm eating. I'm Haitian, so rice is part of everything we eat. And
Like
so,
breakfast,
so
lunch, dinner.
exactly, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So just I was just in the space. I remember I was just depressed about work. I was depressed about life. I was in a dark place. My health wasn't good. And I remember like up to that time. So even before that, like in the summer, a guy that I used to work with at one of my old jobs, he was a couple years older than me, like 3 years older than me. Another big dude used to call us big guys together. You know what I mean? Another big dude used to be a former athlete. And just I never thought of him as fat. I just thought of him as a big dude that he died of stress, and he died of stress and high. He died of just pretty much. I think it was a heart attack. Actually, yes,
Like
he died of
stroke,
a heart
heart attack.
attack. Exactly. So it was
Okay.
stress, a stroke, a heart attack. And I remember when that happened, that hit me. That hit me like, wow, like this guy died. He was just sat right across from me. I never thought he was unhealthy. Like he was just a big guy like me. And that sat in the back of my mind. And at that time, when I finally got to that place at the end of the year, I was sitting. I remember I was just I didn't even think I was overweight, but I knew I was having health issues, and I hate the doctor. So I was sitting on my couch. I would feel my heart palpitate, and I'm just like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And then my blood pressure was crazy, like crazy, crazy. I would go to my mom's house, and she's like, "You should actually go to the doctor." She would try to like cut me up. She's like, "Yo, you need to go see the doctor so you can get checked out." But I just never took it seriously. And I remember that week. It was in between Christmas and New Year's in December 2018. I was just fed up with everything. I was fed up with the way I was living. I was fed up with my situation with work. I was fed up with my situation with money. And then at that time, I just started listening. I started reading actually Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And then I remember it was the first chapter. I just was sitting on my bookshelf, and I just looked over to that time when I was sitting at my counter just depressed. And I looked at that book, and I just picked up the book, and I was like, let me just read the first page. I ended up reading the first chapter, and I got so much from that first chapter. And right after I read that, I just randomly went to YouTube, and I saw a Will Smith video. Um, and the Will Smith in video, it was something in short, pretty much like change doesn't happen until you make a decision. And I remember that right there, that change doesn't happen until you make a decision. That just kept on. I was sitting at my counter, and it just change doesn't happen until you make a decision. Change doesn't happen until you make a decision. Change doesn't happen until you make a decision. And I remember that night I wrote out everything I wanted to change. So I was like, this is what I want. I want to change. I wrote four things. I remember wrote, I wanted to change my health. I wanted to change my health. I wanted to change my money. I wanted to work in a job that left me fulfilled and happy. And oh, I was looking for a girl at that time too. So I was looking for a girl. So those are four things I wrote. I wrote them down. I prayed about them. And then I gave him up. And I remember that day I was like, I'm going to make a change. And I didn't even know what that was. I
But
just
you knew
knew
it was gonna happen.
I just decided like I'm going to make that change.
That's so
And
dope.
then I remember around that time I was just looking up a lot of information was coming to me. And I say I say chance, but honestly, is God, is the universe, whatever it was just whatever I was looking up, it would just speak to me. So at that time, I was getting into Joe Rogan, and then I found out about Joe Rogan, and I saw something about intermittent fasting, and that was where like you would only restrict eating from certain time to certain time. And I was like, you know what? That seems crazy. I can never listen. I need my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's no way I could do it. But then I started factoring in. I was like, well, I could work if I don't eat at midnight and don't eat till 12. I could actually manage that. So I did a 12-hour fast, and I realized it wasn't that hard. And then I started kind of pushing my fast back. So that was the first step. I got into intermittent fasting. Then I started to just getting into at-home yoga, 10-minute yoga at home on my YouTube, on TV. I don't even know how I got into yoga. I don't know how yoga thing, but I just started doing yoga. Just and trust me, listen, I will tell you, even now, as much as I love yoga, as much as yoga has saved my life, I still feel self-conscious about being bent over and suspect like, in front of mad people. But like I said, I don't know why I tried it. I don't know what, but that day I tried yoga, and it was just amazing. Just what it did, just the way I felt afterwards. It was amazing. And then in that process, I remember making this deal to myself: is regard like you have to work out every day, right? Do something every day, whatever it is. Your minimum, your base minimum, whatever it is, no matter how great of a workout or what, your base minimum is at least 10 push-ups and 10 squats. That's it. So
That's dope.
if you don't want to, and if you don't want to work out, whatever, if you have a horrible day, this, that, the other, at least do a minimum of 10 push-ups and 10 sit-ups. And I remember that first week I do a little workout, or first I do the workout the first week, and they'll come to like the third, fourth day, and I really wouldn't want to do a workout. I'm like, oh, I'm sore, my body's aches, but let me do my 10 push-ups and 10 sit-ups. Or I'd be sitting there, I'd wake up in the middle of the night like, shoot, I didn't work out, I didn't do nothing, and I feel like I cheated myself.
Yes.
So I would do my 10 push-ups and 10 sit-ups, and then what I realized is it just became the thing I did. You know what I mean? It never became about working out. It never became about looking good. It never became about abs or muscles or anything. It just came about getting the bare minimum done. Like, yo, get at least whatever you do, just do your 10 and 10. That's what I would say. Yo, you get your 10 and 10 today. So I would just go for my 10 and 10. And on my good days, I'd kill a workout. And on my bad days, I'd feel like I cheated myself, but at least I got my 10 and 10, so I wouldn't feel bad. And that just started a pattern. And the 10 and 10 turned to 20 and 20, turned to 30 and 30. The workouts turned from 10-minute yogas to 20-minute yogas to hour-long yogas. The runnings turned from running right out of this cul-de-sac and walking right back because I couldn't make it to
Yes.
running 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 miles. So it just what I realized is this: nothing matters but consistency. And
Mm.
that's what I started to focus on. I stopped focusing on what I did. I stopped focusing on how I did it. I focused on just being consistent. Like, don't quit on yourself. Get that workout every day. Make sure you intermittent fast every day. Get that yoga in every day. And that's just it. That really was it. And it's funny, like a lot of people would ask me, like when people started to see the changes and started to see everything happening, a lot of people would ask me, like, "Yo, Kerby, what are you doing? What's your secret formula?" And honestly, like to me, there wasn't a secret formula. It was just not quitting and not allowing yourself to quit, making the decision to make a change. And once you decide, just putting that energy in front of it. And like I said, it's just been an amazing journey. Once again, I still go for my 10 and 10. Even now, I work out all the time. Some days I'm lazy, like I just don't want to do it. All right, listen, you don't want to work out? Cool, just do your 10 and 10. And that's what did it for me. So
Wow. Okay. So
I
that
know
was
that's a lot. I'm
such
sorry.
a no. It was good though. Like I was like hooked. I was like, oh my goodness, like a lot happened in those like 2 years.
Yeah, it definitely did.
Like you definitely did capture me, especially that time when you felt like at the lowest point. Like
Oh
you
yeah.
and you saw those things and they start speaking to you like, all right, you got to do something about it. It's not wishing about changing anymore. You actually have to physically get up and do something.
Yeah.
And so that is amazing. That is truly an amazing journey. So like, what was the easiest part of the transition in your journey?
The easiest part of the transition, um, honestly, it's kind of weird to say, but the easiest part was the workouts. The workouts and everything, that was the easiest part. The hardest part was checking my mind. Because
Mm.
what happens is you start to work out and you're like, yo, I can't do this. Nah, I can't do this. Or you'll start to run the first like quarter mile, like, yo, I got a cramp in my side, I gotta stop. No. And then I remember like, and once again, all throughout that time, I'm looking, I'm filling in, I'm feeding myself with just knowledge and information and making working out and nutrition and everything important. That's another big thing for me too, making things that you want to do important. So One big thing I used to do all the time, and I catch myself doing all the time, I'm about to do that or I'm gonna do that. And
Mm.
that would kill me all the time. I'm about to work out, I'm about to work out, or I'm about to go for this run. And I stopped doing that and I started making it a thing. And like I said, the mindset, telling myself, I would always make up excuses of why I can't. I
Mm.
started making excuses of why I can. So whenever I would want to stop or whenever I would want to quit a workout or quit a run or something and be, oh, I can't do this. And then I would be like, all right, so what's 3 reasons why you can? And I'd be like, well, you know what I
You
mean?
can't
And then I
come up
didn't
with
have an
anything.
excuse anymore. I couldn't. So you just have to keep on going. So, like I said, and everything, obviously the workouts were tough and everything, but the real tough part was changing my mindset and the way I thought about working out and the way that I thought about doing hard work. So,
Wow. Okay, good. So and you know what? Mindset is always the hardest thing. Do you still
yeah.
feel like your mindset right now? Like since you've been doing it for like 2 years now,
Mhm.
consistently. So do you still struggle with mindset at from time to time?
So now it's the different side of mindset. Now it's sometimes in my head, it's like, yo, so I lost what I lost about 80, 85 pounds altogether.
Okay.
So in my mind is now it's like, bro, you did all the work. You look good now. Everybody's complimenting you and how you do. So you're good now. You don't have to. So the other side starts to creep in. Like, oh, you don't have to work out today, or you
Yes.
can eat that garbage now.
Like
Well,
you're
you have
good.
exactly like you worked out 3 days. You deserve some pizza. You're good, bro. Like that's the mindset that you have to fight. So
That is
it's
so
your
true.
mind, man. It's just fighting you, and yeah, that's what it was for me.
So now what happens when those thoughts start creeping in? Like what do you do? Like what do you tell yourself?
So what's like? It's the same battle that I have, yo. When I have those thoughts and I realize them, I'm like, all right, so here's why you can't have it. Give 3 reasons why you can't. Like, why shouldn't you do that? Or I come to like, bro, you put a lot of work in. Like, you don't want to reverse. You don't want to go back. And that's a big thing for me. Like, I realize how much work I put in. I realize how much I made a change. Like, I have always my whole entire life have always been a big guy. I have never pictured being. I it honestly even in college when I went to college at Andrews, I think my freshman year I was 230
Mm.
and that was how many years like I was always a big guy and now I'm sitting at 220, 215. Like I have never been this small ever in my life and
Um,
I don't want to give that up. Like I really don't want to give it up. I've worked too hard. I worked too long. Like I put in blood, sweat, and tears. And once again, it wasn't necessarily for a body. That's what made it big for me. It was never for a body. It was just to myself. It was just keeping true to myself. So
Absolutely. So now, did you
yeah.
ever end up seeing a doctor like your mom suggested, or did you just like screw it? I'm just
Oh
gonna.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I definitely saw it. Doc. They had me on all type of blood pressure medicine. I was a diabetic, so I was pre-diabetic. So I had me on metformin actually to try to get my sugar down. Like yeah, so I had it all. But once again, even when I was there with the doctors, I wouldn't listen. I thought I was invincible. You know what I mean? I'm a guy. So.
So now that you've done all this work, are you still
Mhm.
taking those medications?
No, no, no. I'm off of everything. I don't deal with medicine. I eat healthy. I still fast. I try not to eat junk. I try to stay away from the rice, the breads, the carbs, and just you know what I mean. Just fast, eat clean, drink as much water. Yeah, and that has reversed almost absolutely everything. Everything has calmed down. All the medicine I used to be on gone down. Doctors are like, I remember when I was losing weight. That's the next thing. When I was losing weight, everybody thought I was sick. Like, yo, what's going on? Why are you losing so much weight? You're dropping so much
Right.
weight. So what's going on? But I knew the work was that I was doing, so I wouldn't have to worry about them. But yeah, yeah, I've been
That's
great.
wow. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about the eating. So you said you were eating healthy now, and you mentioned that you were eating junk and all
Mhm,
that stuff. So now with the intermittent fasting,
mhm.
what type of foods are you eating? Like,
So
and also like, what is your stretch? Like some people there's like different stretches.
yeah,
So like, tell us a little bit about that.
so for intermittent fasting, so the way I dealt with intermittent fasting is this: I love bread, I love rice, I love all that stuff. Like I love and juice was my bad one. So rice bread, pasta, and juice. Like I would literally go. I remember I used to go to Walmart or Market Basket and get 7 cartons of juice so I could drink a carton each day. Like I drink a carton of juice. Like, the minute
Wow.
exactly. That's how I used to drink juice. So every week I go to the supermarket, 7 cartons of juice, whatever is Minute Maid or whatever the juices at Tampico, whatever it was at the time.
Oh my gosh. And those are like
7
the
of
worst
those.
juices ever. They're not
Trust
even
me.
juice.
Well, now I know
They're
exactly.
treat.
So 7 of those kill every single day. So what for me, what I had to do is I had to trick myself. So when I started intermittent fasting and started figuring out how to eat, I mean how to eat and how to eat better and things. So I would trick myself. I love juice, so I couldn't drink juice. So what I found what worked for me was flavored seltzer water. And so flavored seltzer water worked for me because I like guzzling. So I'm not a sipper. I guzzle juice. So I'd get a bunch of flavored seltzer water and I would guzzle that instead of guzzling juice. And it wasn't as good, but the flavor and the fizz kind of tricked my mind into thinking it was soda. So I would just guzzle flavor. So that's how I got over my juice and stuff like that. For the intermittent fasting, it was just at first it was just 12 hours and then it got to 16 to 18 hours. So it was just working out what I told myself in that time period when it's time to eat. When it's time to eat, first off, I would pre-set up my meals. So I'd set up my lunch, I'd set up my dinner the day before, so there wasn't any excuse. Because half the times it's like, yo, what am I gonna eat? Let me get a steak and
Yep.
cheese. Let me get McDonald's because you have. So I
Yep.
started planning out my meals, got my breakfast and got my lunch, and I made it simple. I made everything simple. What got me through, I made wraps. I used these flaxseed wraps. I put some chicken. I put some lettuce. I put some a dressing, and that's literally 2, 3 of those. I'm straight. And I could have buffalo chicken one day. I could have barbecue the other day, and there's not extra stuff. It was really good. So that was big for me. Started eating a lot more vegetables and fruits.
Mhm.
So just instead of like a lot of the pastries and like cakes and cupcakes and stuff like that, a lot of fruits and vegetables. And I would smoothie them. So I wouldn't juice them. I got a Ninja Bullet, so I would throw all my vegetables and everything, my carrots, kale, apples, throw it in the thing and drink it as a smoothie every day. Still to this day, I do that almost every day. And the biggest thing for me was the biggest thing that got me over is going out to eat. So what I decided to do when I went out to eat is I would look for the healthiest thing that I could stand. So any restaurant I would go to, I just looked like, all right, here's what's options. Let me look for the healthiest thing that I would like. So maybe instead of a hamburger with French fries, it'd be a hamburger and a salad, or you know what I mean. Instead of what you call it, potatoes on the side, I'll do broccoli. So that's kind of how I did it. And once I started like tailoring that, more places I went to my go tos, and yeah, that's how I kind of got with eating. So
Oh
just
wow.
focusing on what I liked, what I could get away with,
Yep.
and the healthiest stuff that I could stand. And
Right,
yeah.
right. So with your fasting, do you eat one meal a day or do you have like two, or how many do you have in a day?
So now what I do, I go between 2 and 1 meal a day. So
Okay.
I usually have my first meal around 2 o'clock. I have my first meal around 2 o'clock. Sometimes between school and the while, like I get busy and maybe I don't eat that. Maybe if I don't eat till 3 or 4, I'll just kind of wait till I get home and I eat. So I eat between 1 and 2 meals. And I even my first meal is usually a salad with some chicken or something like that. And then my last meal is something usually heavier. But it's still probably like a meat and a broccoli
Or
or
vegetable?
yeah, vegetables or something like
Okay.
that.
All right. So now earlier you mentioned that you had an 8-year-old son. So now
Yo, yeah.
how do you incorporate these changes with him, or do you?
Oh no, definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
So how do you
And
work
you
it
know
out
what?
for him?
That was a thing for me too because what I realized is I was getting healthy. I was getting healthy, but I'd feed him the trash. You know what I mean? So I was eating better, but I'd get him waffles. He was eating better, but he'd have what you call it, toasted strudels and all this garbage stuff. So what I started doing is changing the way that he eats. Like, all right, babe, let's do it together. Let's do oatmeal in the morning. I don't eat in the morning, but let me cook you oatmeal. What we do now every morning, we do our morning workout. So me and him
Oh,
in the morning, we go through, we got, and there's what I realized another thing, YouTube has everything you need. That's
that's
another big thing as well. YouTube as a resource, like everybody, and even me, I grew up in the gym, I grew up working out, lifting for football and stuff like that. You think you have to go to a gym to work out, or you
no.
have to you need weights, or you don't need anything. Literally everything is on YouTube. So what we do now, we have these 10, 20-minute kid hit videos and we do them together in the morning or in the afternoon when we get back from school. yeah, we do these hit videos, and we do it together, and we make it a thing. I got him a smartwatch, a little smartwatch,
Oh,
and we
that's cute.
challenge each other. So, babe, how many steps did you got? All right, I'm at 25. Big Daddy, I'm at 22. So, like, we challenge each other. So yeah, like it's just making involving him in what I do and making it fun for him. So,
That is awesome. I'm loving how you guys do the workouts together. How
oh
was
yeah.
how was he when you were transitioning into the healthier eating? Did you face any pushback at first, or was it just like,
No, obviously, no, I don't like this.
okay?
Obviously, a waffle with syrup is way better than oatmeal and fruit. But you know
Yeah,
what I
you're
mean?
right.
You know what I mean? As a Haitian kid, they learn how to adapt really quick. So yeah, it wasn't no major issues.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. All
Yeah.
right. So now what are your next big goals? Or do you have any like health goals, or you just kind of like, you know what, I'm just writing this out and just maintaining?
My goal, like I said, my number one goal, my only goal is to stay consistent. That's literally, I focus on being consistent. When I realize being consistent, everything else will fall into place. Everything else will fall into place. Just consistent. Just work out, do what you got to do. My personal goal, I was hoping to. Well, last year I was hoping to run a marathon, but with COVID and everything,
Yeah,
that kind
COVID kind of screwed things up.
and same thing with you this year. But my goal is to run a marathon, a half marathon at first, and then a full marathon. Once again, I was the guy that never ran. I never ran for nothing. Even running now still blows my mind because I hated every single aspect of running. And the
Wow.
fact that I can run now is mind blowing. So I just want to put a marathon under my belt just to, you know what I mean? Just as one of
So
those
you
things,
did
like
it.
exactly, just to say
Yeah.
I did just for myself, just because I was so against running my whole entire life. So
Oh my goodness. Wow, that's awesome. And you
yeah.
know what? You definitely will. I can say hopefully COVID just
I know,
at
I
stage
know.
left for like now.
I
But
know, right?
like but yeah, that's awesome. I'll be rooting for you. I definitely would like to know if when you actually do. I'm not gonna say if, I'm saying when you
No,
actually
no,
do
that's yeah. When it will happen. It definitely will happen.
That's awesome. All right. So the last question: what would you like to say to any guy, especially the gentlemen out there who
Mhm,
are struggling or who may have been especially now with COVID and everything
mhm.
going on, and people are affected in different ways. And
Yeah.
so, what would you say to these guys out here who probably, especially during this time, they're feeling kind of low and things are not going on, and
Mhm.
they're maybe considering, maybe not, but they need like a change. What would you say to that guy?
Um, what works for me is the decision to change and making a real decision to change and actually understanding like change is not easy. It's not fun. It's not a walk in the park. It is hard, but it can be done. And that was the biggest thing for me. Like a lot of these things I thought could not be like couldn't happen. Like I never thought I could get under 230. I never thought like I'd be the guy that people would look at the gym like, whoa, that guy's like I never thought I never thought that would be so making the decision and actually understanding like it can happen. Whether you believe just believe that it can happen and you will make it happen. Honestly, make it important. Whatever you make important will become important. So just make that thing important. So
That is dope. Thank you so much. Oh my
no
goodness.
problem.
Our time together was so amazing. I loved it. I was like hooked and your story was
I'm happy.
it was dope. Thank you so much for your
Oh, no
time
problem.
and sharing your journey with us. And also letting us know how you and your son is doing with that. That's kind of cool too. That's cute. You guys doing it together in the smartwatch and all that. So that's really nice.
Thank
Um,
you.
but anyways, guys, like you hear it, change. If you want to change, you have to be the one to actually go through the motions and actually do it. It's not going to happen by
Yep,
happenstance, you know what I mean? But we definitely have to put in the work and the effort in it. So I do hope
definitely.
that you guys got all the information and the gems and the inspiration, the motivation you needed to start off your health journey, because that's the goal here. We don't want to just keep hearing about these awesome stories and then just keep living life as usual. We definitely want to hear these stories and use them as fuel for us to start our own. So I definitely hope that this has inspired you to start your own. Thank you so much for tuning in to my channel. Thank you for listening. And please subscribe. Please share with your friends and family members and all those who you think will benefit from this from the story. And I hope to have you on this platform one day to share your story. So thank you once again. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.